Live from Borgata here in Atlantic City, the beer garden at Borgata to be precise. It's Gill Alexander from the Vegas Stats and Information Network, along with the star of the show, a man who has a title so long, but it befits the power that he wields. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice President of Race and Sports, MGM Resorts International, Jay Rood. Good morning, sir.
Yes, one of our newest jurisdictions that we can accept legal sports wagering this year, and NFL is in full swing this week. And it's going to be outstanding. I mean, college opened up last week.
Yep.
Really good business here, really good business at Mississippi. So we are thrilled to be at Borgata doing our first episode.
That's correct.
For the NFL kickoff.
Here outdoor at the beer garden, which has $4 draft beers, by the way, $5 stadium food, 10-foot screen, Jay, lawn games like ping pong, like Connect 4, stuff like that. So anybody wants to come out during the weekend, watch football here, please.
Yes.
Do so by all means. Do I have your permission to start with college football, by the way?
Let's go, yeah.
Last week, so many marquee college football games. This week, not so much. But Stanford hosting USC in the Pac-12. I'm not sure if the region here, I'm not sure how many bets we'll get on this in New Jersey. I'm sure there'll be some, probably more at your Vegas properties.
They'll bet on it here.
Yeah, they'll bet on it. Stanford favored by 4 in this game. USC coming off a 22-point win against UNLV, 43-21. Didn't cover, by the way, 24.5 points. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
JT Daniels, 22 of 35 for 282 yards. Good enough. But that USC defense in facing UNLV has a running back named Lexington Thomas and a quarterback named Armani Rogers. They gained 228 yards against the USC defense. You're going up against Stanford's offense. That doesn't sound very good.
Well, yeah, especially when you consider that, UNLV just basically melted in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So you're going up against a much different pedigree in their home. It's a tough task for USC, I think here. This is going to be a game that I think we are going to be rooting big time for USC because it's going to be a ton of Stanford money, I think, in Vegas. But now there's a whole new concept here at Borgata. This is, Hawaii used to be the get out game.
Yes.
These are get out games. These 7 o'clock starts for these guys late here, in this time zone. I think this is going to be a lot of action rolling into that. They're going to, it's the get even or get even deeper game, for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a big game, I think.
We used to refer to that as the chase game. So the amateur bettor who's lost money earlier in the day, what Jay's referring to is the latest game or one of the late games that day. Back in the day, it used to be the Hawaii game. Their chance to make it all back or get even deeper into a hole. You don't want to be that person.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii is the start of the next day here.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
These guys. I mean,
that's right.
It's football and breakfast. I mean,
Stanford, here's the deal, though, Jay. David Shaw gets a lot of flack sometimes, but his pedigree is really unassailable at Stanford. 7 years, 73 wins going into this season. Bryce Love last week in Stanford's win against SDSU, San Diego State, uncharacteristically, 18 carries, 29 yards. It was J.J. Arcega-Whiteside who had 3 touchdowns, 6 catches, 226 yards. If they gave out the Heisman today, he might get it, by the way. You got to figure Bryce Love is going to break out against this USC team.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, if Rebels were able to generate a couple of big plays like they did, I think Stanford is going to have more than opportunity to pop some big plays.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sweating, with only 4 points in my pocket on this game.
I don't like the side you're on. I'd go Stanford. Stanford hosting USC, the college football marquee game of the week, right here behind the book. Brought to you by the PlayMGM app. Back on Behind the Book from Borgata, the beer garden at Borgata in Atlantic City. Gill Alexander from VSiN, Jay Rood, MGM Resorts International, Vice President Race and Sports. Jay, late breaking information. The National Football League season starts this weekend.
Yes.
The NFL, Sunday, and a lot of interest here in AC. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to take on the New York Giants. Jacksonville favored by 3 on the road, -3, -115, by the way. Total 43.5. Jacksonville coming off a 10-6 season. AFC South title holders, but they got into the postseason. People won't remember. They beat Buffalo 10-3. Not a memorable game.
Right.
But then they went into Pittsburgh.
Right.
Beat the Steelers 45-42 before losing a fourth quarter lead against the Patriots in the AFC Championship. So close to the Super Bowl behind the great Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
What do you think? 3 points. Giants 3-13 season last year. Can't get any worse for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's time for Odell to go make his money.
He made it.
I mean, that's what everyone's going to say here. I think regional bias could play really big into this particular matchup for us here at Borgata.
You've seen that already with the Giants in the offseason with futures, right? 15-1 to win the Super Bowl here in New Jersey.
Yeah, Philly, anything Southern New York is getting bet hard.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably be taking a ton of money on the Giants. I think probably our biggest scenario, our biggest decision in this particular matchup is going to be the under.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's touting the Jacksonville defense. Whether the Giants' production can get back up to what it was, a few years ago. If their production is anything like they did last year, 43.5 could be a tall order for both these teams to put points up on the board, considering Bortles has somewhat struggled.
Somewhat. Say the least.
Say that.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting with him, that's for sure.
In the preseason. It's still preseason.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that team sure stepped up for those 3 games, and fell just short of going to the Super Bowl. But
you think this will stay at 3, bottom line, this game?
Yeah, probably. I would say it stays at 3. The VIG might move around a little bit, but I think getting off at 3 on this particular game, because it looks to be a field goal game, and 3 is huge. As you know, it's like 28% of the games are decided by like 3.
Yep.
So
right around there. I don't usually go to the phone, but I'm going to go to the phone for this because Giants fans, regardless of what you feel about Eli Manning, Davis Webb cut. Your backup quarterbacks are now Kyle Lauletta and Alex Tanney.
Who?
Exactly. That's why I went to the phone. And again, I said this last week. If there's ever been a gauntlet of an early season schedule, it is that of the New York Giants. Their first 7 games in order: home Jacksonville here, 3-point dogs. Then at Dallas, at Houston, home New Orleans, at Carolina, home Philly, at Atlanta. Those are your first 7 games of the season. If the Giants can get out of that, say 3-4, it is a huge victory for them.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're an under player in season win total for the Giants.
I am an under player.
Yeah.
Their season win total right around 9-ish, I believe. Am I mistaken about that? I think around 9.
Yeah, 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of VIG on the under 9. But yeah, good game to kick off the season for the Giants.
They'll do well getting a good start here, for sure. Jacksonville at the Giants. Jacksonville -3, -115. Here at Borgata in Atlantic City.
At Borgata.
Come bet it. Behind the book from the beer garden at Borgata. Gill Alexander, J. Rood. Coming back. Brought to you by the PlayMGM app. Back at Borgata, the beer garden here at Borgata in lovely Atlantic City. Gill Alexander, J. Rood. Jay, last segment you referred to something that we like to call key numbers.
Yes.
Nothing more key than key numbers in the NFL. Explain that to the people.
Yeah, I mean, there's some key numbers that you'll see some weird movement happen from time to time. Generally, it's 3, which is the keyest of the key.
Yeah.
7, and then
the next most key.
Yeah, 10, 14. But we don't mess with those too much. But generally, 3 is where you'll see the VIG, move. You're laying 11 to 10 on most bets. But if we're getting a lot of heavy one-sided action, instead of giving out the hook 3.5,
yeah,
I'm throwing a lot of terminology at you here.
You are.
We'll just go to minus $1.20. So if you want to lay the 3 now, instead of laying a hook, now you're going to lay double VIG, which is, instead of 110, you're going to be betting 12 to win 10. It's a way for us to be able to mitigate the all dangerous middle, or side, when a game starts to move a little bit.
Here's what I would say for you in more simpler terms. The key numbers and most, probably the application that's best for the better, if you can tease a game through key numbers. 2 team teasers in the NFL through the numbers. If you can get a team that's, say, +2, and then you can tease it to +8 or +9, getting through the 3 and the 7, in other words, that is always going to be a plus EV, a plus expected value wager. 2 teamers, manipulate that line.
Wow, you just went
You are going to win more often than not.
You went from 101 to like graduate stuff right there.
No, I think that was, that was perfect.
And you're trying to ruin my career by giving all this really good advice out.
That I am.
Just
J. Rood, behind the book, Borgata,
parlay.
DC. Brought to you by the PlayMGM app. Behind the book, Borgata, Atlantic City, at the Beer Garden.
The Beer Garden.
Again, $4 draft beers, $5 stadium food, 10-foot screen, Saturdays and Sundays. Oh my God, is this awesome.
This is a place to be. I mean, you know, you could be in the book,
Yeah.
run in,
You could.
but better than that,
Hell yeah.
you get to play MGM app, and you know, go to town with it out here
The
while you're playing
PlayMGM app.
cornhole and drinking $4 beers.
Is there cornhole out here too? I will
gotta be.
crush you in cornhole. PlayMGM app, by the way, it takes about 8 seconds to download, and then it's about a 5-minute process to actually get in the system.
Probably.
Maybe 7 minutes. All right, big game. Houston at New England, Jay. The New England Patriots, AFC champions. Remember, they lost to the Eagles, of course, in the Super Bowl. People remember that.
I do remember
Patriots
that. It was not a good day for me.
Patriots 6.5-point favorites here. Total is 51. Now, Houston was 4-12 last year, but you know. You really can't read into that. There was no Deshaun Watson after the injury. J.J. Watt was out for an extended period of time. Maybe we're finally going to get a Houston Texans team where we can see Watt along with Jadeveon Clowney for an extended period of time.
Cushing, Clowning, I mean, you name it, all the big playmakers were out on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And Watt looked outstanding, great decision-making more than anything. I mean, not the physical abilities, but just his decision-making was what basically got him that spot.
So great. The Patriots, although they did not win the Super Bowl, each and every year they seem to win 12 games and really haven't won any fewer than that since I believe 2009, if I'm not mistaken. They're in a very weak division. That certainly helps. But here's the thing with New England. As great as they've been, we have seen this time and time again where they start seasons kind of shaky. How many times have we been 2 games into a season or even 4 where we're like, I don't know, this might be the year, and then Tom Brady and Bill Belichick do what they do. But vulnerable here early perhaps, and 6.5 is not a negligible amount of points.
No, I mean, yeah, especially against a defense that got the band back together and could potentially be really, really tough. I mean, you saw, we just talked about it on an earlier segment, Jacksonville went in there and their defense, helped them in that game tremendously. And I think this is going to be a tougher game than not. I think at 6.5, I'm going to see just a boatload of money on New England.
You think it gets to 7?
I think it probably could get to 7. Really, really, one-sided action. I'm going to say public bets is going to be 80% on New England. But I'm not the worst thing in the world not having to root for Texans plus 6.5 with a potentially really good improved defense.
Yeah, I think you might be okay with that one this time. Houston, 6.5-point dogs as it stands right here as we do this midweek from Borgata, the beer garden at Borgata in Atlantic City, brought to you by the PlayMGM app. Back at the beer garden at Borgata, Atlantic City, Gill Alexander from VEASAN, Jay Rood from MGM Resorts International. Jay, Monday night, doubleheader. That's what they do week 1. This is the second of 2 Monday night games. The Raiders hosting the LA Rams, the Oakland Raiders, that is. Yes. And as we speak, it's gone from 4 in favor of the Rams to 4.5. So to the bettor who says, wow, I don't understand this line. This seems really short. And oh, that move corroborates what I'm thinking. Is this a trap? Shouldn't the Rams be favored by more? What would you say to that guy?
I don't believe the Rams should be favored by more. I mean, I think the home field advantage for Oakland is big. And the Rams obviously have, like you said, spent money like a drunken sailor this offseason. But and they did it in the right spots.
Yeah.
But again, if you look at this, you got to handicap quarterbacks. Quarterbacks drive this league.
Oh,
and if you were to handicap these 2 quarterbacks, Goff versus Carr, I think I would make Carr a slight favorite, very slight, 20, 25 cent favorite, just on performance alone. So, yeah, maybe Goff's got a few more weapons on his side, and he's obviously got a much stronger, I think, supporting staff now with the exit of Khalil Mack on the defensive side of the ball. So, a lot of people talk about trap game. I do think this number could run. We probably end up, 5.5 or 6 maybe, depending on how strong the action comes. And again, this is going to be a late game out here at Borgata.
Chase game.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be heavily bet. I think the action on this could be really strong, and I think it's probably going to be 60 to 70% skewed towards the Rams. So we'll be rooting for Chucky, which is good because I'm a season ticket holder for the Las Vegas Raiders when they come. So, I'm already starting to root for the team.
Yeah, you won't go wrong as a general rule betting against public sentiment. That's probably true. But that said, I'm going with the Rams here. As you allude to, Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib, all free agent acquisitions for the Rams this offseason, whereas with the Raiders, just appears to be a disaster. Khalil Mack, I get it, you're playing the long game, but he's still a defensive player of the year in the past, maybe a generational defensive player who's no longer with you. Martavis Bryant, you throw a third-round pick at him, he's gone.
Yeah.
And then you throw $100 million at John Gruden, who hasn't coached in, I don't know, over a decade.
So not paying linebackers worked out pretty well for the Dallas Cowboys back in the day. So I'm wondering if that's sort of the philosophy here, is you're going to spend your money at other areas.
What year was that?
Back when Aikman and the boys played, Jimmy Johnson, they didn't like to pay linebackers. So,
well,
but it's a critical position in this day and age right now, especially ones that are fast and strong and get to the quarterback like Khalil did.
I'm going to go Rams, despite the public sentiment. Sometimes the public is right. It's not that the public is always wrong. Rams right now favored by 4.5 as we do this. From Borgata AC, the beer garden, once again, home of the $4 draft beers, $5 stadium food, 10-foot screen,
cornhole,
lawn games like cornhole and ping pong. I think you play ping pong like that, by the way, I'm told. All of that here on the weekend at Borgata. Come down, bet football at this property or all the MGM resorts.
Absolutely.
Properties, whether here in New Jersey or in Las Vegas, Mississippi maybe as well. For Jay Rood, the Vice President of Racing Sports, MGM Resorts International, Gill Alexander from the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Good luck with all your bets this weekend, whether it's in college or pro. Next week on Behind the Book, we'll, of course, do week 2 in the NFL, more college football, and Jay.
It's fight week.
It's fight week. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin against Canelo Alvarez, the rematch. Behind the Book from Borgata AC. Thanks for joining us. Good luck once again with all your bets this weekend. As always, PlayMGM app won't take you more than 8 seconds to download.